screws is such an unsexy business. The screw girl is coming. Yeah, I mean, if they call me the screw girl, so be it, right? Yes, you are who you are, and I couldn't figure out why. There's a customer is always right. Oh, I absolutely did not want to be a screw girl. Whatever works as long as you give me the purchase order.
As long as you don't screw people up, right?
Have I been screwing around for that long? Why not? If I was checking screws for one entire month before I was introduced to my customers, how do I build trust? Evidently, I do not say screw you lah. If you want to move fast, then you do alone. If you need to expand, then you need hire. Is the screwing business still relevant?
Hi everyone, welcome to Asian Business Owner Podcast, A-Boss for short. With the changing economy, especially after pandemic, do you ever wonder why business lifespan is getting shorter? Do you ever wonder what causes it? Are you one of the business owners who are in the midst trying to figure a way out? Or are you intending to start your own business venture believing that everything will work out but somehow you feel something is missing? Or do you want to start a business however, you do not know what to go for? If you have all these questions on the list that I mentioned earlier, or many more that I have not mentioned, then we are here to fill the gap.
Hi, this is Joe.
Hi, this is Man. Okay, before we start, all right, we'd like to encourage everyone to do us a free survey by subscribing to our podcast and to share around so that we can invite more business owners to share their experience, knowledge, to many business owners around who actually listen to our podcast. Okay, so today we have a very interesting guest that coming up on board to our show. But some questions before we really start. Have you ever screwed something up or found yourself missing a screw when you needed one? Well, today we have the queen of screw from May-Mizu Fasteners to help tighten the things up for you. Hi, Cynthia. Before we get into the world of screws, can you give us a quick introduction about yourself?
Okay, good morning. So my name is Cynthia. I'm from May-Mizu Fasteners. Our company has been operating since 1987, so that's just under 40 years. Well, I think we are considered one of the pioneers in this industry, where we sell precision customized screws from 0.6 mm to about 10 mm in diameter. Our service industries are mainly in the electronics and communications. So you'll find our products in commercial products like washing machines, hand dryers, in your mobile phones, in your printers, and I think everybody will be familiar. During COVID days, everybody get a safety token to move around the entire Singapore, right? So our screws were also found in there. We are a trading company, and I am second gen.
Okay, now this is interesting. We all know that we call it the hardware industry that you are in right now, yeah? It's
Sure.
usually dominated by more or less a male industry. So how do you actually overcome it?
I think initially I was affected because of the things that I sell, right? Actually, one of them told me after he left the company, whenever I come by the company, he actually said, whenever I visited the company, hey, the screw girl is coming. So I was actually affected by that kind of labels and whatnot. I was like, wow, what? I'm just selling my fasteners, I'm selling my wares, why am I getting this kind of verbal abusers per se, right? So I think in the initial years, I had a strong reaction towards it. But after that, I just decided to join the game. I mean, if they call me the screw girl, so be it, right? Because in the industry, people call my dad the screw king, right? So I'm like, yeah, whatever works as long as you give me the purchase order. So I think that was how shifting internally allowed me to move around the corridors where it's a very male-dominated industry and essentially just be myself and screw myself in, right?
As long as you don't screw people up, right?
Yeah, that's why I mean I make sure that their joints works, and then whatever they do afterward, it's their tai chi, right?
Just curious, how long have you been in the industry?
I have been here over 20 plus years. And yeah, whenever I do the counting, I'm like, seriously, have I been screwing around for that long? But yeah, it has been.
Right. And have you fully taken over the company already in terms of the operations aspect?
Of sorts, I think about 80%. the boss still mainly take care of the finance. I think I started out in the sales first, followed by operations of the entire units lah. So I take care of the entire supply chain as well.
Okay, so right now, yeah, from the stage of princess of screw right now to the queen of screw.
Yes. No, I feel I passed the princess of screws. I am at the stage of queen of screws. Then I think the moving on one is the empress of screws, right?
Okay, right now, I mean, being in the industry for 20 over 2 decades, yeah.
Yeah.
Is there any challenges that you are facing right now today that compare a decade ago? Is there any differences?
I think a decade ago, building relations was much easier. I think it was more cohesive in nature, where it's very common for people to meet up over coffee chats, over dinner chats. Essentially not even talking about business, right? It's just building relations. But I find in this decade alone, I'm not sure if it was like a shift in COVID where everybody is settling down, working from home, right? The muscle memory to meet people is not really there. So I find it a bit challenged to build relations in the manner that I was used to previously, as well as some of my customers now just have hot desks, which they literally sometimes need to make appointment, right? To actually get a desk to come into the office. So the work environment, the work culture has changed. But I think my formula of building new relations in that manner has not possibly met up to the current way of doing things.
So do you think that with the current technology or AI, does it
Mm.
able to help improve your business as well as relationship? These are totally two different
Mm.
topics.
Yeah, I think with AI, it's more in the operational aspects of things.
Mm.
I am also noticing by and large, a lot of my customers are also, I mean, even though they are based in Singapore, they are hiring people from different nationalities and they work from home, right? So I think the cultural building would be difficult or a little bit more challenged lah, because people are not in the same environment per se to build that up on a stacking basis. So I feel with AI, it's more operational, where we build into our processes to make it more effective. And thereafter, it's also to maintain the human internal shift, right? Whether they would be placed out of the market and whatnot. And I think it's really my current concern now to manage those different sentiments as I try to introduce new processes into the company.
So talking about
So
culture-wise, right? Can you describe a little bit about your company culture? Because it's from like first gen to second gen, and then how do you manage that transition?
We are 12-man staff. So a lot of times, they are all old guards, right? They have been with us for over 10, 20 years. I credit that to what my father did that contributed to all these talents staying with us lah. But that said, when you are in a company for that long, you tend to stay very comfortable. I mean, there's no right, no wrong in that, but it's just a natural progression of things. And if you do not have that attitude to keep taking a pause in your life, reflect, and then update yourself, right? Then whatever that have stayed with you in the last 10 years would be in that same sphere of things. So as I took over the company, I think that's the first challenge that I have to undertake, which is change management. I don't think I've been very successful in that yet. Even I myself is going out there to learn like coaching, to learn organizational development. Essentially, that's building up my language, right, for working with human dynamics. So I am sensing, what's the current state of my company right now, and what is the first things that I need to put in place before a real shift can happen. And of course, going out to network, talking to people who are also in operations outside of my industry. And I think that has been very beneficial to actually increase my perspective as to how to do change management.
I'm just out of curiosity, Cynthia.
Mm.
Is this the career you originally envisioned yourself to be? or did it gradually develop a passion for the screw business?
Oh, I absolutely did not want to be a screw girl. I didn't even know what was that, right? In my first job here, I was assigned to QC, quality control. I was an inspector. I was checking screws for one entire month before I was introduced to my customers. So I didn't know that was what my father did, right, to raise the family. And of course, I only know the business through him telling us stories when I entered the company as well, and that's formed a deeper appreciation of what he did for us. So no, I did not come in thinking that I would be the queen of screws. I just thought naively, when I was hired to do sales, sales is a very transferable skill set. So I went in with hey, why not? If I don't like it after 1 year, 2 years, I could quit and find a similar job, because then perhaps I would have hit a level of experience where I can sell anything right in front of me. So that was the attitude that I took on when I joined the company. And yeah, who knows, it's been over 20 years.
When talking about sales, as a sales trainer myself, I realized that sales basically is a very professional skill set. And apparently a lot of company doesn't equip with that. And the irony part is that many bosses hired sales representative, assuming that they already equipped with the kind of knowledge. So do you have a set of framework when you actually hired a sales and train them based on the framework?
I think there are two things. Number one is skill set. I think skill set in terms of building relationships. How fast can they make the person in front of them feel comfortable about themselves, so that the bond or the connection can really start to open up, right? Then you could really talk about a lot of things under the stars and the moon, because I've been saying, right, screws is such an unsexy business. How do you sell screws? So to me, I find like the formula in doing sales, it's really making people relatable to you, connecting to them, and being for them even outside of selling them screws per se. So I think that's the extent of skill set that I have actually built for myself. So I do find myself going hiking with my customers, them being anxious about my relationship lines, right, with other people, and then they start a lot of care and concern for me. So it's interesting how that happened. So that's one. I think the other part is really attitude, because I think a lot of people out there has customer is always right. I think there's that the part, it's kind of yes and no. So it's again, how do you manage that customer line such that even if they are really not saying the right things, we can still manage their emotional aspect and let them know that we are still for them. Because especially when there's price war involved, we cannot really win that game all the time, right? So it's really letting them know what type of value-added service, and it's intangible. It's very hard to negotiate your way through, right? So I think the marksmanship for a sales team, a salesperson, will require all of that.
Is it very hard to attract salespeople in your industry?
I would feel so. It's such an unsexy business. It would definitely help if I was in the fashion business, right? Doing retail. And everybody have this fluffiness about, wow, working in the retail has all the nice fanciful dresses, you go to parties and whatnot. And then for screws, like what do you exactly do in screws, right?
Yeah, what is the opening
But
statement in terms of like building trust, rapport, credibility, right? How do you even open up the conversation? Do you need screws or?
evidently, I do not say screw you lah.
Oh,
Oh.
well, I think the way you mentioned on the building relationship and attitude that you're looking into a salesperson, I think that all these are belonging to a soft skill where it needs times to develop unless you have a framework, to train them so that it can become a second habit. to instill in their characters. So if not building a relationship, very often I realize that they will actually become screwing the relationship for the company. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. So how do you show them that the way of building relationship?
I think everybody would have their own formula. So it's really
Mm,
not me telling them this is ABCD that you have to do.
mm,
But because I've been trained as a coach as well, so
mm,
I think the first thing I will tackle on is really their value system. You know, what essentially makes them tick. Some of them gets motivated by resources, but some of them gets motivated by the connection that they build with people.
mm,
Um, some of them get motivated by being validated by their boss. So essentially, if you want to work with somebody, you have to know what is the value that actually motivates them, and you
mm,
speak their language such that they know that they are being seen, they are being heard, and that's when they will buy into you as an authority, and they will
mm,
start
mm.
working beside you, alongside with you, and
Right.
I think that's when things will really move.
But do you believe that first impression is actually very important before you start to build the relationship?
Um, In most exercise, yes, because
Mhm.
people would look at first impression and immediately judge you whether they like
Mm,
or dislike you, or
yeah.
whether there is a countervalence or a valence towards you, right? Um, but I guess with maturity, you will also start to understand first impression is just forming one part of the assessment of the entire relationship line.
Mm, mm,
But before you get to that maturity, then sometimes you have to be a bit more chonghei lah, more naggy, keep telling them, or nudging them a bit lah, like telling me, this about this person, tell me what's your point of view. So you start nudging them and then you start hearing them to see where is their line of thoughts, right? And where possible, then we will introduce different frameworks to see that how we can expand the orientation and that perspective of how they are looking at that person. Because growing up, I'm definitely a very judgy person. I'm judging person nonstop. Even in coaching per se, I mean, we call it reprofiling, right? But I mean, along also many terms, we are also judging the person. But sometimes when you use the word judging, it has a negative notion, right? But it's actually essentially giving you data.
true, true,
Why,
true,
why
true,
did
true.
you decided to become a coach? Is it purely because of the fact that you need to coach your people, or is this an interest kind of a thing?
I was first a client, so somebody first coached me. I was having relationship issues with my dad then. I couldn't figure out why. There's this love-hate relationship, and I feel that I wasn't moving as fast as I would like to in the company. So my friend introduced me coaching, where I was the client, and then that's when I realized that, hey, I have been living in the shadows of my dad, of wanting his validation, wanting his approval. And when that opened up my perspective, I was like, oh wow, I mean, that is it? And then that's when I decided to reclaim back my identity, empower back myself, and take back my voice, take back my identity, and be who I want to be. So I went on to be trained as an MC. I hosted some events, and that kind of built up to a point where I thought my coaches were also very cool. I was like, how come they seems to know more about me than myself? How come they say one thing and then I start emoting? And they are like able to like play a chess game, right? They seems to know a few steps ahead of me. And I thought that was a very cool skill set to have. And given a small company like ours, 12, right? No
Uh-huh.
HR department, right? Then I thought thinking the best person to do that would be me, right? If I could hear what my customer did not say, if I would hear what my staff expected but also did not say, that that's going to be a very cool skill set for me, right?
It's a very interesting journey of self-discovery for you, I think.
Yes, it is. It is.
Would it be
It's
like
been a
a second career for you?
definitely. I've always envisioned myself coaching on the airplane, right? Especially on long haul flights, nothing to do. I could earn a couple of bucks and pay for a meal when I land. So that's definitely it. Yeah.
Okay, this is
You're
going to be
right. Coaching is
interesting.
definitely a good skill set to have. Yeah.
It is, it
Upon
is.
upon saying, if you really ask me, I think that coaching is also a skill set that actually help in terms of sales presentation as well. Because for sales, a lot of misinterpretation, thinking that oh, I must close the deal and so on. In matter of fact, I think personally, my definition to sales is that you must be equipped with the ability to educate your customers. So in a matter of fact, coaching is actually one of them. You might able to lead your thought, okay, to understand why you actually need this and what's the advantage, what is the disadvantage that you're looking towards for. Yeah. So yeah, coaching definitely is one of the very important skill set that I think a lot of sales personnel probably they will need to equip with. But upon saying, when you talk about the coaching career that you're actually having, now right now you are carrying forward on the existing business legacy. So in your opinion, is it harder to continue and transform a family business or to start from zero as an entrepreneur, and why?
I think both would have different challenges. I think when I come into the company, when the company was about 15 plus years old, it was very healthy business, right? The processes were there, the financials were there. I didn't really have to worry about things other than just bringing in sales. So it was very compartmentalized of what I have to start to build with. But then as I took over the company, I realized I did not have the exposure of what is starting from ground zero. And that became a stumbling block for me. I could only hear it through the stories that my dad tells me, but given that I have not had the practicum, right, and just inherited the business in the middle of it, I find that I do not have that foresight as to how do I build resilience, how do I build trust, but in the business arena. But of course, resilience, trust, that has been built in my personal line of work, for example, right? So I find that was that one thing which I felt was a little bit empty, as a containment of things. Well, I think if you're starting from ground zero, I've got a lot of friends who are doing startups, right? Then it's really I think one key thing is really the ability to pivot. When you see that something is not working out or you see a change in the environment, right? So I think that pivoting is a very important skill set that you need to have and not necessarily be too attached to your initial vision of things, because I believe in the discovery process versus the end point.
We're talking about pivoting from a startup, all right, to another level for any company itself. That's always the most challenging part that after when I was being engaged to help them to grow to the next stage. For a startup, I realized they never run out of cash. It's only when they are trying to pivot to another level that is where they all start to fail.
The
So
game is
generally,
raising funds.
not really the fun things lah. Okay, I think if you ask me, what's missing is basically the management knowledge. So any startup, whatever that I come across, they are either having some very professional skill set that they are having or some specific product they are offering. So usually for the startup, it never fail at this stage. Only when they fail is where they're trying to expand to another level for the company. But that's where the management knowledge skill set will missing. So I think same thing likewise, yeah, for any business. Right now, the key thing is also the leadership. So when you took over the business, what was the biggest difference in leadership between the way the previous generation ran the company and the way you lead it today?
Okay, so I'll answer that question later. It goes back to your earlier point about when they pivot, right? What I feel is that sure, there could be a lack of new knowledge, but that essentially over time you will start to build up. I think what's missing is really the reset and realignment of the human dynamics within the company that have not been catered enough time to maneuver such that the whole ship is moving at the same time with you. That has a set of impact and consequences.
In matter of fact, this question was very related to the leadership question that I actually asked just now. Why is that so? Because as a startup, usually it's like you're the one in control, right?
Yep.
So when you start to grow, you realize you need to delegate authority, or if
Yep.
not, attribute your authority out, to someone that's able to own the ownership for the result. I think
Sure.
that's where a lot of startup feel to do that, because they found that if I'm going to pass the authority to someone else, then will I lose control of the situation?
Yeah, I mean, that is one part of things. And the other part is if somebody is doing very well in department A, right? And then you shift him to department B, or you need him to handle a pool of people, then in terms of that transition, maybe, in a solo part of him, he can definitely perform the job, but he might not have necessarily the skill set to work with a team and all the team dynamics that might surface along the way. So I think all this needs to be tracked and trained to create a more successful environment.
This is very common in a lot of companies, is that those
Yeah.
individual contributors, they're very good in their role. But when you put them
Yep.
into a leadership role, right, they fumble.
Yes. So
Right.
I think sometimes people neglect the training part of things, as well as their own internal alignment. So sometimes when I coach people, a lot of times, even for myself, right? I think one of the challenges is my realization is I treated my staff as family members. And of course, when I'm treating them as family members, I try to avoid conflict. And that itself has its own set of impact and consequences for myself. And then I was like, when I had the realization, I also went, oh, damn, shit. Right? How is that a mirror to my own family dynamics, right? So upon looking at that consistent pattern that I display, then I tried to be a boss. Then to my staff. And then my first concern is how would my staff view me, right? Suddenly from a very maybe low profile, very quiet person in a family oriented unit, right, to somebody that is talking more top down, talking more strategy, telling them what to do, how would they receive me? So there were a lot of internal conflicts in that shift between my personal domain and my business side domain. That shift is not easy to maneuver per se. And so yeah, I will coach, right, to get that sorted out.
It's definitely true, because when you are being passed the leadership baton to you on hand, and it's like you inherited it. So that the capability wise, I think a lot of people will doubt you whether you can bring the team forward to the next level of height that they are looking towards for.
Yep.
And last year, okay, there's this case that I actually get from one of the business owner, which is a family business. So he was asking me like, hey, should I promote my guy who are very good in sales to manage a team and so on? So my next question to him is that, okay, does he himself equipped with the manager or the leadership skill set? He said, well, why is it important? Because once they are good in whatever they are doing right now, they should be able to manage a team, and people will be more or less convinced. So my take was that leading a team and performing well is two different stories.
Yeah.
So when you are able to perform well, doesn't mean that you are able to lead the team, and vice versa. So he was like, okay, it makes sense. So how about getting my family member to take over? So my question back again, right, is that what is the credibility, right? So he said that currently his son taking over, so not much of performance and so on. So you want to hire me to fire your son?
Did it happen?
借刀杀人, right?
Something like that, yes.
Yes.
So I think I reckon with your statement on like when you're taking over, there will be many doubts that even for sure. But the key thing is that a lot of people cannot differentiate in between like the leader skills set as compared to the role of whoever they are in right now, because it's totally different things. So right now, it's like right now, is there any difference in between the first generation leadership and compared to when you're taking over?
First generational leadership is very much macro. So my dad looks at things in a very big overview, and he have a tendency to just focus on sales. So his day in, day out conversation with me, is the company P&L in the black or in the red? Then what you need to do next. So that has been the conversation with him growing up. And so when I am taking over the company, I realized because I was very much focused in operations, and operations includes a lot of humans, right? Then I realized I was micromanaging. So that again caused internal conflict because I could not meet the bar that my father has set while I was trying to identify myself with me. My micromanage is not just 指指点点, just look at point A to B, do you do all this checklist, right? It's more taking time to know my stuff. So I know their family background, I know their family's background health. I know what's going on in their internal state, which my father doesn't really do a lot of focus on that. He's just looking at, he's a numbers person, right? Where else, maybe because even my interest in coaching, in organizational development, I have a more human touch persona. So the angles is already very different. So whenever we get into conversations, that is our first conflict, right?
And how do you manage that? Like, yeah, how do you overcome that?
It took a long time. And given that he's my father, then there's the personal line and then there's the boss line. It's not easy to draw the line. But I think thankfully, because I have coach training, I've got leadership training, it helped me to draw the boundaries a lot better. So essentially, number one, drawing the boundaries, it's very cognitive. It's in your head. You know how to do it. But when you're having a conversation with him, a lot of emotions tends to come out.
Emotions, yeah.
Yeah, and I am more in tune with my emotions as well. So I think in the initial conversations, there were a lot of tears and a lot of shouting, because I felt like, in the intellectual side of cognitive side, I cannot get across to him because I am weak in my language. So I speak in the emotional side. So a lot of anger, a lot of frustration came out because I was anxious as a person, right? And so gradually now, my last conversation, I'm very proud to say I only had 5% of tears, and maybe about 5% of shouting. I thought that was a remarkable feat and journey for me to have come to the current state of myself to be able to hold that conversation with me. And of course, if you don't tell him, right, I actually use AI to, print out an agenda so that I could keep the intellectual cognitive conversation intact. So it's more like preparing for the conversation.
If you see the podcast, he will hear it.
So I'm saying jump into a conversation prepared, right? And become more aware of your internal state. That would definitely support anything that you have to go through in life.
Okay, I'm just wondering, because I come across many family business always have the same issue, okay, which is that they like to bring the family issue to work and the work issue back to the family.
Yes.
Do you experience that?
Yes. At the start, yes, because we were still in transition, right? So now in the legacy succession planning, even if I were to bring homework, it's more, can I set aside some time with you? So I find making appointments work, even though you are in a home environment. Can we set aside, say, 3 to 4 o'clock? I want to talk about XYZ agenda in relating to business. The last time I actually said, I'd like to also have a conversation with you, but let's hold it in the office. So I find having that containment, people know what to expect. People know what's the agenda. They come, their internal state is more calm, and they are able to handle the conversation, whether is it personal or business, in whichever environment that you choose to, as long as it's being set up. So clear expectations, clear agenda, clear communications would support your environment.
Okay, now I like to ask about the screw up moment that you are having. So is there anything when it don't go according to your plan? Yeah. So what do you learn or what did it teach you?
Wow. I think a screw up moment was actually one of my staff forgot to place a very big purchase order for a very major client as well. So that was a major screw up. Then my father was still very much involved in the business. He was still coming in on a daily basis. So in that process, I realized I freezed. I didn't know what to do. It was the first time it happened, and the volume of the screws that was being placed was in the millions. So yeah, my whole body just froze. Oh shit, right? I'm screwed. Then I really didn't know what to do. So he stepped in. I saw how he was in action. He immediately called the supplier and said, this is what happened and this is what we need to be handled. Can you support us? And we will pay the necessary overtime fees if needed lah. So we have always worked with first-tier quality suppliers. So in that aspect, they were absolutely very willing to support us with a phone call, and things started to move from there. But of course, in that process, then I learned what ownership is, like being responsible. So it's really owning up that you screwed up. And then that's when I started putting things in place, like in terms of processes, such that this kind of negligence does not happen just because you are busy with something else. And of course, seeing how my father just with a phone call make everything happen, and then things start to settle down, then I realized, of course, the importance of building relationships with your stakeholders as well. So it's not just with your customers, your supplier lines are also very important.
True. I totally reckon with that, sir. Because we, from my side, I do corporate gift. So the relationship in between the producer, the factory, my partners in China, kind of thing, that we make sure that everything are a smooth process, that we understand what the requirement that each other wants. But at the same time, we also stand by a process just in case anything goes wrong. So what is the plan B, right? To settle all this. And very often when I was being engaged by any company, I always do a 3 years and 5 year plan for them. And what do you hope to achieve in another 3 years time? And fast forward, what do you envision your company to be?
So recently, what's taking up my space is to consider whether I should have a fractional chief technology officer or a human resource officer. I think it comes to a point in business cycle where I can no longer do everything by myself. So I think it's the recognizing of if you want to move fast, then you do alone. If you need to expand, then you need to hire. So I think previously the orientation with SME is if things is not damaged, don't
Don't rock the boat.
yeah, don't rock the boat, don't introduce new things. But I think my backside also very itchy, right? Then it's like always finding new things to improve things and whatnot. So I also like talk through with my colleagues. Do you think I should have a human resource? And they feel it's not necessary. But I think in myself, I kind of really decided that to really move the company, the humans needs to be healthy first. And I can only do that much. My focus still in sales and being scatterbrained with HR, scatterbrained with tech, with AI. I don't really have a lot of clarity in that aspect to do what I need to do. So I think in the next 3 years is really putting all these people in place such that things would start to move. And of course, in my recent networking conversations with somebody in ops, is that change management really needs time. It's not a one size fits all. There's always like a feedback loop. You do something, feedback to you, then things change again. So again, not to be fixated in that idealistic outcome that you want, but really look at what's really in front of you and move around it, right? In 5 years down the road, I really hope somebody can buy over the company.
But you'll be no more queen of screw.
It's okay, I can
Empress
be
of
queen
screw
of
already,
something.
huh?
I can be queen of something else, right? Doesn't matter. I'm not fixated on that identity and label as well. Because yeah,
Okay.
essentially it's me, right? Essentially it's still me.
So finally can
So
take out the crown.
yeah. Yeah, I mean take on, take off. I think that's one important thing that I want to talk about. It's really yes, you are who you are, but
Mhm.
when you start to expand yourself, become more aware of yourself and the old identity don't fit anymore. Of course, at the start there'll be some internal conflicts, right? But eventually you also need to recognize that it's time to step up of your um to walk out of your current mold and walk into a new mold. And then I think that's when you can become more adventurous and more fun in your life, lah.
That's very
Yeah,
good
and of
advice.
course,
Yeah.
yeah. And I think that's where, yeah, coaching, having awareness of myself has allowed me to unfix that. Essentially, in my first process in being a client, it was also removing that mask of I am somebody else's daughter, I am somebody else's sister, somebody else's friend. But who am I internally that allowed me to move into the different rooms that have opened the doors for me?
Maybe you should consider engage a fractional chief growth officer.
Yeah, selling
No,
yourself
no.
here, lah.
No, let's go for another question. All right. So when you're building a legacy succession, eventually it
Yeah.
becomes an important question. Have you started thinking about two or what will carry the business forward after you?
That's not relevant anymore
Um,
because 5 years they will solve the business already.
May not be. So assuming that maybe still a question mark whether you're able to sell the business off or not.
yeah.
But do you have a succession plan in the pipeline just in case? Because from what I understand is that a lot of M&A company definitely they also hope that whatever company that they buy over, they would hope there will be some succession plan in the pipeline because they wouldn't want to manage the company immediately. Probably they want this successor to be in the company to run for another 3 years or even 5 years. Yeah, so that's actually a very important plan in the pipeline.
Yeah. I think that role is likely to be me. But in regards to succession planning, well, I do not have kids of my own, right? And I'm looking at my nieces and my nephews, and in say 20 years down the road, right, the whole environment of business would have changed. Is the screwing business still relevant? Is that something that they can get value out for themselves? So I do not really have a answer to that. So I think for now, the answer is no, I do not have a firm plan on that. I'm more interested in the question of, from what I've learned in May-Mizu, from what I've learned in building up something and what I've learned in building up myself, what are the type of values that I can actually share with my nieces and my nephews as a crux for building their own character up as well.
Right.
Then that would be my legacy to them.
Okay, assuming that they are keen to take over the business, what is the screwing advice that you want to give to them?
I think number one is they need to figure out for themselves what would unscrew them, meaning what would cause them to exit a business or exit a decision that they have made. I think they should have a set of conditions or guidelines that they adhere to. Basically, it's likely towards their values, that it's a hard stop, or yes, I can continue with this, or maybe I can be more flexible. So that's one. The other thing is, what would they consider for them to continue to stay in the joints, right? The screwing of things, what would hold them together? I mean, business go up and down, in terms of downtimes. Can they still hold it together? Can they still hold, the joint together to build things up? Yeah, then that would be the journey that they really have to go through.
Now, I'm just curious, yeah. Giving the opportunity that you're able to travel back 20 years, will
Yeah.
you be still making the same choice of in the schooling business?
Oh man, that's a very hard question. Mm, I think when I first joined the company, there was a part of me that has got to do with filial piety. You know, 我的爸爸这么老了, you know, 我应该来帮忙 per se, right? So if I were to rewind back 20 years and seeing what I have said yes to, I would probably have said yes still. But I think I would have more gusto to shake things up a lot, so that things would be, how to say, so that things in a ship, in the business, there can be two captains. It does not mean one captain exit, another captain take over. I rather we coexist. And I think that's where the harmony and the abundance can really take place on the ship of the business.
Like a co-pilot, when they have partners, I always one must be able to bring in revenue. Another one must be able to understand how to distribute the revenue effectively. So in Chinese, they call it, okay, 二老板要会赚钱，大老板要会分钱。Yeah. So with this kind of two different roles, probably they won't have any crash onto it. But of course, ironically, I think a lot of people like to become the big boss. They think that distribution of revenue is easy. In fact, that's the most toughest part.
It's an ego thing. It's an ego thing.
It's not really the ego thing, because being able or equipped with the ability to distribute the revenue, it involves many aspects of management within the company. It involves budgeting, it involves a lot of costs that you need to invest in your people, all right? So you need to invest not just on your supplier, but at the same time, how to make your company technical support even much more better to keep aligned with the modern era. Yeah, so all this kind of budgeting, that is not going to be an easy job for anyone, especially when you do not equip with the kind of knowledge. And how many percentage that you need to set aside as a bonus to encourage your staff to work towards it. And at the same time, what are the KPIs that can tie up with the whatever revenue that's set aside. So all these kind of things that a lot of many bosses doesn't equip with. Yeah. So yeah, everybody wants to say, I want to be the big boss. But then the question back again, do you know how to distribute revenue?
Yeah, I think there is that skill set in terms of yes, sending out the cash literally, right? But I think there's also another skill set of the power game and the assigned trust. Because when I think that is diminished, then that's when everybody will have all those sideline pantry talks, right? And then that's when 有钱没钱 people also 讲话. Then that become a bigger problem than the real money itself. I mean, because money is just a transaction, right? I mean, it's a currency where you put in a certain amount of effort, somebody see it, you know, that get distributed to you. So I would say 会开马屁的人 also can get money, right? So that is also a skill set which people fail to recognize, but then they'll go to the pantry, 哇，这个人啊，很会拍老板的马屁啊，没有做东西 and then, you know, can get so much bonus. Then the 鸡同鸭讲丁, that's when political stuff starts to happen. But so I guess essentially, if you understand human dynamics, then we can start seeing all these invisible lines of communication that's happening and how you as a boss could actually manage it better. Right?
Okay.
And I think just now Joe had something to say as well.
Yeah,
Yes, it's just actually just a sideline. I'm actually very curious about the company's name, May-Mizu. What does it mean?
Yeah. I think I've asked it before. I said, did we start in May? But I look at my ICRA, no, not start in May. So previously, my dad was working in a Japanese company. So his orientation towards quality checks and control, it's very Japanese style. And that's when we produce quality products, right? Because we are fixed in our processes, we get fixed outcome, we get quality products. So we could sleep really tight where we don't really have to worry about quality issues per se. Right, and that's why we command a higher premium lah. So I've always gone to my customers and say we are not the cheapest in the industry. If you want cheap, let me bring you to a hardware shop, right? Where you can 讨价还价. So we are not that kind of company. We believe in a quality products that meet your needs and that it will joint where it needs to be joint. Yeah, so I would
Mizu
say
in
the company
Japanese.
name is water. Yeah, Mizu is water.
Water. Yeah, correct. Yeah,
Yes,
so
yes.
interesting.
Yes, so I guess water in Chinese is also a lot of abundance, right? So 有水有水. Yeah, I think that's how that came across. And in regards to our logo, yeah, I always joke, right? 3M is taken, so yeah, we we have to settle for 2M lah.
Okay, now, if any audience here, okay, want to know more about screwing business and how not to screw your business, I think they are welcome to contact Cynthia from May-Mizu. So how does all our audience contact you? Because I will leave your contact at the end of the show.
Well, they can always email me. I'm happy to always have a coffee chat, especially with people outside the industry. I think that is something that I learned this year as well. Because sometimes when I go to networking events, right, like how often does people buy screws from me, right? More often than not, it's not. But it's the value that I saw in them in regards to their attitude, their values, what are the different things that they have managed to overcome within themselves that support the processes of the company. Because with processes, you ask AI, everything is out there, right?
True,
It's easy, but how do you really make that switch, that change with a positive impact? Then it's really the human that makes that difference.
Yes, yeah. I think
And
impact
I
is
have
the word.
and we have a good network of M&A consultants. So we're happy to refer you to have a conversation with them if you want to exit in 5
Thank you.
years.
Thank you. Yeah, let me pack up my P&L nicely first, right? And get things moving. And then, yeah, I can give you a call then.
Okay.
A network of fractional CFO to help you make the books better.
Yes, please.
Okay, well, with that, I think it's about time for us to sum up everything. And yes, I think I still still want to have a conversation with you probably next month. Yes.
Yes,
So
thank you.
for any question too, like email us or contact us. Do remember to follow us, subscribe us, right, so that we can have more conversation and invite more owner to share their knowledge and experience of the industry. Okay, so with that, thank you very much, Cynthia, for your time today. Yes,
Thanks,
we
Cynthia.
really hope to see you again here.
Yeah, thanks for the
Thank you,
generous
Joe.
sharing.
Thank you, Ben.
Thank you.
Yes, screw you.
Bye.
Till the next one.